Okay, well, welcome everybody. Another edition of Meet Your Makers. We are so happy to have our special guests tonight are Lauren Rava and Sherrie Holzer from Rava Wines. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're really excited to talk to you, learn a lot about your business. We've been reading up and um, I've been to your facility before. My wife has been with me and we really enjoyed the ground, the beautiful grounds. And I know you have an event center there. We'll talk about that. You can talk about that a little bit later. And so from there, all I can say is hope everybody had a great 4th of July. Um, I did. We were up in Utah and saw fireworks from our place there in
Okay.
Bryan Head. And it was a nice, relaxing 72 degrees
Wow.
full
Fabulous.
time.
That sounds perfect.
It is, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to turn it over to Jason and we're going to start to meet the two of you and hear your story and learn about Rava and what you're doing there. Jason?
Thank you, Mike. Welcome, everybody. Uh, Thanks for joining on.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And
Thanks for
cheers.
having
This is
us.
July
Cheers.
8th.
Paso Wine Fanatics and Mike and Jason, thank you for having us and doing what you do in the community to bring us all together.
Quite our pleasure. And thank you for joining tonight. Um, Maybe to get us kicked off, if Lauren and Sherry, if you don't mind, can you talk a little bit about just your roles at the winery, and then we'll kind of transition back into some background stuff if that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Lauren Rava. I'm the co-owner here at Rava Wines. I've been in the wine industry for 18 years, mostly on the growing side, along with my husband, Chad. We started the winery in 2008, and my role has been a little bit of everything in the business. I like to think of myself, I like more of the creative side. So although I do the books and everything in the office, I also like to design labels and get my hands dirty and be in the winery. Obviously, connect with our guests. I plan all of our events. And I've learned a lot over the last 8 years since opening the tasting room part of the business. So uh, it's my life. We live across the street. We're here every day. Although we may not be in the tasting room every day, we're always somewhere on the property, either farming or riding horses with the kids or coming to deliver goods.
It's a family operation.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm Sherrie Holzer. I am the winemaker here at Rava and have the pleasure of making sparkling wine here and the still wines as well. And then part of the Rava model is we also do a lot of custom crush sparkling for our neighbors and friends and other wineries. So I uh, have the opportunity to babysit their wine and make wine with my colleagues in town. And this is my fourth harvest. This will be my fourth harvest coming up since I've been at Rava.
And Sherry, you're overseeing the winemaking for, I think you just said it, still and sparkling, right? Everything, the whole.
Everything, yeah, yeah. It's a small it's small little operation here. It's myself. I have an amazing cellar guy, Jose, and yeah, it's a kind of a skeleton crew. The nature of sparkling wine is we don't have this huge winery staff. I think people are surprised, how much gets done by a couple of people here. And yeah, Lauren, everyone kind of does a little of everything, wears a bunch of different hats, and yeah, it's kind of the fun part of having a small family operation.
How many, how many
Yeah.
cases are you producing there?
Um, it's a little different with sparkling because it depends on when we disgorge it or not. But I think last year was probably 4,000 cases, yeah, of the Rava label. Yeah.
And very unusual to oversee such a broad or diverse wine portfolio from sparkling to all those stills, right? I can't think of many that do that.
Yeah. Well, winemakers get bored, so it gives me a lot of different things to do and different projects. And so yeah, we do the sparkling, we do still, and then our newest project here is we're doing these canned wine spritzers. So that's a new skewer project for us, which is kind of its own thing. So yeah, there's definitely we don't get bored here. There's a lot to do, and yeah.
It feels like a wise business strategy given what the younger generations not doing with wine, right? It's a way to maybe reach them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the wine spritzer,
Yeah.
yeah, we kind of got tired of complaining about losing part of our market to that, and just us in general, and Chad, we especially if we're drinking during the day or out in Paso when it's so warm, or we're by the pool, we wanted a nice lower alcohol beverage. So we actually just kind of made it for us to drink, and then yeah. And
It was
it
good.
seems like the younger generation is kind of gravitating towards that too, and
Yeah.
so it works out well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
our
good.
answer to beer. We personally don't drink beer, so it's a really light, crisp beverage. I wouldn't ever compare it to any of the other canned wines I've had before.
Yeah.
It took us years to develop. We did our first one in the bottle Méthode champenoise. So it's really surprising. It's really refreshing, and it's nice. And people have to, your audience has to start somewhere. We all didn't start off with big, bold reds.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we were all introduced to wine at some point during our journey, with a lesser, maybe store-bought shelf wine that wasn't the greatest. And that's unfortunate that a lot of people have to have that first experience and maybe get a bad experience with wine and not want to try sparkling
Yeah.
again or try a canned wine again.
Mhm.
And we get that all the time. And that's my biggest challenge, I would say, with the consumers. I love it when I meet a guy that's like, I hate sparkling wine, I hate champagne. And we're able to introduce them to something they may enjoy because it's different than what they first tried.
Yeah. And so during harvest, there's no beer on the facility, or um,
No,
No beer.
I was gonna say we have a lot more people in the vineyard, but it's just Jose and I in the cellar during harvest. We do have we bottle often, so Travis who lives on the property comes, and yeah, everyone, but we don't have this full crew. We don't do a lot of red still wine, so we don't have to have a crew digging out tanks. It's
right.
kind of a less, there's more hand labor, but less, I guess, physical labor. Is it? So yeah, we don't increase our, employees tenfold or something. It's still a small little operation.
Got it. Well, to rewind a little bit, Lauren, going back to the dream, the idea of being the first in the Central Coast to, or at least Paso, to feature specifically sparkling. Um, can you tell us how that originated and got started? How that got started?
Yeah, well, honestly, it was never a dream to start a winery in Paso. So how did we get here? I moved here with my family in 96 from Orange County. We were my parents didn't drink wine. I was not introduced to this industry as a young adult. I was in banking for 5 years and I got transferred up to Paso in 2008. At that time, I met my now husband, Chad, at Burnix restaurant. I don't know if any of you remember Burnix. It was a great steakhouse in Paso in 2008. It's now the same location as the Hatch.
Oh,
So
okay.
little steak restaurant. So I met him. He was a farmer, graduated in 96 from Cal Poly, crop science. So he was a third generation farmer, but the first in his family to go into wine grapes. So they were vegetable farmers. And it was just great timing, I would say. The area was, flourishing with wine grapes, and he got a great education working for other people and had the chance to go out on his own. So when I met him, he was just a farmer, and 100% of our grapes went to other wineries. So we were completely on the back end of things, which is kind of I would say a little bit of a unique perspective from what I see from other stories. Is a lot of times people, follow their passion by drinking wine, retiring, changing careers, and going into winemaking, where we kind of flipped it and we started in the wine growing business and then turned it into a winery. So a little backwards. We're not the only ones, but from what I see, that doesn't always happen. So our first vineyard was the oldest commercial vineyard in San Luis Obispo County, in Shandon. So that's about 15 miles from Paso Robles proper, but in San Luis Obispo County. And we had 800 acres out there, a cute little farmhouse, and just farmed and sold our grapes to the wine group for many years. So,
And then somewhere along the way, you thought maybe we could start making our own thing.
yes, it happened. We had some health issues with my husband. He got cancer in 2013. And that really, allowed us to reflect and, is this something that we can continue to do at this scale? So we decided to downsize. And that took many years to do that process. So we downsized. We had 2 young children at the time, and we sold all of our commercial vineyards. We had already started the project here at the winery and it was finished. So it was good timing because we didn't know what was coming and how busy it would be being on this side of the business. So we sold our ranches, our commercial vineyards, and then we opened the winery the same year.
And he's okay now.
He is, yes. He's in partial remission. He's gone through 2 treatments. But I would say all in all, it sounds really crazy to hear, but it's, provided us a little bit of reflection to balance our life a little better because it gets really busy and we're not grow. Bigger is not always better. We're really happy with the way things are running right now at the winery and the scale we're at.
So how do you decide that the winery is going to be sparkling focused?
Ooh, great question. Like I said, we had no expectations going into it. In 2015, we were 5 years into the development of our property. We went really slow and steady. We had 3 minor use permits, biggest permit in the county for events. We were crazy. If you put it eloquently. We didn't know it at the time. So we had worked with John Clark, who was our founding winemaker, for about 20 years as our main and only contact at the wine group. So we sold all of our wine grapes to him. So we had a really great relationship with him. He had just retired in 2016. And we're like, hey, are you bored? Would you like a little retirement project? We have something cooking. And he's like, yeah, sure. I'll do that for you guys. So we couldn't have done it without him, obviously. So he took our idea and introduced us to some really great people in the industry. So in 2015, we went, locally to Letitia with Dave and Eric Hickey. They were the ones that we looked up to in the local scene.
Sure.
And, they had a great operation, exactly what we want to do. We're like, do you want to make wine for us? I said, no, we have really old machines. We don't want to make any wine for you. So we're like, okay, we'll try again. So then we went up to Northern California and visited Eileen Crane at Domaine Carneros. Another, really great Méthode champenoise sparkling winemaker. Obviously loved what they were doing hospitality wise and winemaking wise. And John, he knew all these people and was able to, bring us in. Otherwise we would have had that opportunity just to walk in as Chad and Lauren Rava wine grape growers. So that was really special that he was able to do that for us. Our first vintage was made at Rack and Riddle in 2015. And that was a Blanc de Blanc. Before we opened. Because obviously you have to make the wine. That's another thing you learn as you're starting a winery is, oh, wait a minute, we have to have wine before we open.
In order to have a tasting room, you need
As
wine.
I'm sure many of you fellow winemakers can relate to. So yeah, that was.
And so was your
Yeah,
wine
we love sparkling.
preference?
We thought it went really well with our current project. And we also had the opportunity growing wine grapes in Monterey County for the last, for 20 plus years commercially. We were able to make wine for like Mumm, Chandon. So we had that unique experience to where we saw where our grapes went, what they were picked at, and what the final product was. Maybe that took some of our, maybe that's why we were a little bolder. We were able to make those decisions based on other people's experiences. And maybe that gave us a little confidence
Yeah.
to enter the market in the sparkling world.
That's good insight. So you had some reputable sparkling makers in California using your fruit to make sparkling.
Yes.
And so that gave you a little bit of guidance of what direction you could go. Were you already a big sparkling fan?
Yes. When I got into wine, it was basically when I met my husband. And since we were commercial growers, we were always invited to these great grower tastings. And so my education has been completely on that end of things.
Mhm.
How did your grapes taste during this harvest? A lot of industry events. So that was really special. It was a great way to learn. I don't have a technical background in winemaking or grape growing, but I have hands-on experience. So yes, I
And
love
Chad,
wines. I've
when
always had a
you
lighter palate. I like that dry, crisp wine. Yeah.
and what about Chad? Was sparkling? Was it? Did Jeff twist his arm? What was
No, it was
he?
actually his idea, to be honest with you. You
Oh
would be,
yeah.
he's a very creative guy, and he drives a lot of I would say he drives a lot of our interesting varietals that we plant. Um, you know,
Come a little closer to the microphone. We're losing your audio.
oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, he's the idea guy. So he likes to plant grapes and let everybody else do the hard work.
Or the fun work. I would say the fun work, yeah.
But not that grape growing is not hard. He's also a very creative guy and very integral in all the decision making when it comes to sparkling wines. I think he saw a need for it after going out and trying to find someone to make it for us. I think he just saw a little niche, and obviously it's not a Paso centric wine, and a lot of
No,
our
but you started a trend. Now there's at least two others that I know of.
yeah, but a lot of our wine grapes are, grown in Monterey, but we do have a lot of Paso, which Sherrie can tell you a little bit more
Yeah.
about. But I think his motivation and my motivation is just, breaking the rules and trying things and seeing what works. Sometimes it doesn't work, but when it does work, it's really exciting to see an oddball varietal make a good sparkling.
But that mindset really fits into Paso anyway, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where you can
exactly.
really be
Little
creative.
black sheep.
Right. And Sherry, speaking of the fun work, what was before you got started here, what were you doing before that? And then how did you make the connection to Rava?
Yeah, I wasn't didn't have a traditional way into the wine industry, meaning I didn't grow up drinking wine, and it wasn't part of my culture and my family. I grew up in North Idaho, where we mainly drink beer, and I was a chemistry and a botany major, and I just loved chemistry, which is kind of rare. And I think maybe I thought it was probably going to go into pharmaceuticals, but well, I was going to college. I was waiting tables, working my way through college, and I worked at this really nice resort restaurant. And part of our training was we had to sell wine. And the more wine that I sold, the more money I made. So I really wanted to sell wine and get to know it. And then I really, kind of geeked out and got into it. Like, why does a Cabernet taste different than a Merlot? And why does Washington Merlot taste different from California Merlot? And I kind of took the science angle. And then I wanted the chemistry. Why is the chemistry different? And so I ended up kind of taking a turn from pharmaceuticals, and I really liked the winemaking aspect that kind of blended the chemistry, the botany, and microbiology, which was also one of my things. And I had never been to California before. I upped and moved from Coeur d'Alene to Fresno to go to Fresno State, and Our perception of California up there was just kind of what you see on MTV. I thought it was this long coastline and I was going to learn how to surf and meet celebrities. And I was kind of in for a culture shock when I got there. But what I do like about winemaking is I like that it has the science, but I also like there's the art to it too, you know, so it's a nice blend of being artistic and scientific at the same time.
I mean, really is one of the best that I can think of for being able to blend art and science, right?
Yeah, I think that and I would equate it to like a chef, you know, there's a lot of science to it, but there's a lot of art to it as well. But yeah.
Yeah. And so now you're sourcing fruit from both the estate and still from up north, right?
Well, we're all a state. It's just like Rava Vineyards in Monterey and then Rava Vineyards in Paso. So it is
Oh,
all
it is Rava Vineyards up north. Okay. Monterey.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that. Okay. But
This-
obviously you can get your cooler climate grapes from up there.
Correct.
Yes.
So most of the sparkling started from the Monterey vineyards. That, you know, it made more sense. It's a cooler climate. The reason that works out well is we want higher acid in the grapes for sparkling. We want a little lower sugar. But most recently, we've been making sparkling with the Paso estate fruit, which I think goes along with the Paso Robles kind of community feel of being a little non-traditional. And as far as winemaking, Paso Robles is a little non-traditional. We can make whatever blends we want. We're not trying to, you know, follow a certain mold. We do make a traditional, you know, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and a Pinot Meunier, but we also make a Gruner Veltliner and a Muscat and a Cinsault and a Grenache Blanc. And so we kind of wanted to capitalize on what does Paso Robles do best. And I think Rowan varieties do best and Albarino. And so, you know, why not make sparkling out of, you know, what Paso does best. So we do have quite a bit of sparkling wines at our Paso fruit, which kind of surprises people.
Yeah, I think Chad planted like 2 acres of 5 oddball varieties: Grenache
Yeah.
Blanc, Pinot Meunier, Cinsault. We planted them at the
There's
hill. We live
people-
across the street,
people,
and
yeah.
we had our first vintage 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and we just have some wines coming out of those, and they turned out really nice.
Yeah.
So you're doing Pinot Meunier there locally
Yeah.
as well?
On a very small scale, just in
Ah.
case.
It is beautiful though. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. We have a standalone Pinot Meunier, which a lot of people don't. Often it's a blender. We also have it in a blend, but we do a standalone Pinot Meunier. Yeah.
Are you getting the acid from it that you would want?
It's not as high as our Monterey fruit, but it has the complexity and it's kind of cool. What I appreciate about the Paso grapes, it has this really cool chalkiness to it. You know, it kind of has this texture that makes it interesting. And the Pinot Meunier is actually one of our, I would call our reserve wines because it has a special barrel aged brandy. We worked with a local distiller here who made us a kind of a barrel aged brandy. So we have that as a dosage. So that adds this cool, like smoky, sophisticated layer to it. So yeah,
And that's from the Paso estate?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. And how are you deciding from vintage to vintage with all these unique varietals you're playing with, what you're going to make from one year to the next?
I have this luxury of there's so many great varieties grown on the Rava property. I might not be saying, I think there's like 15 in Monterey and 10 or 15 in Paso, but most of the fruit is sold to other wineries. But I get to make a little wish list in the beginning. I want a small amount of this, and
And then we bring it down to reality.
I know I'm the one. I think me and Chad are more SKUs,
Yeah.
more wines, and Lauren's like, we have enough. We're like, we don't need 20.
Those darn bookkeepers.
So it really is free form. It really is the 3 of us talking. Actually, we're doing that right now for the
Yeah,
2025
tomorrow, yeah.
harvest
Yeah.
tomorrow to figure out what we want to do. And, you know, it's really driven on our customers and what our customers are buying. We're direct to consumer only. So we can really see what people like
Mhm.
and what they don't like. And we have the luxury of tweaking that at any time.
And I think
What
our
has-
can appreciate you know, you don't get your shipment. It's the three same wines. You know, it's just like it really is a surprise. Like, oh, okay. You know, I didn't know you guys had this wine. And so I feel like we make a lot of different wines, but not a large quantity of each wine,
Yeah.
which actually makes my job harder, but yeah.
For sure it does.
Yeah.
What has surprised you most, with your store being somewhat consumer driven, what surprised you most about what your members like?
I'm just so excited that they like sparkling. And what surprises me, I guess, about our wine club members is, and maybe it's the venue that's so beautiful, and for everyone that's been to the property, you know, it's very picturesque and very social media pretty, things like that. So we do have a young, I think, wine club, and they're more open to non-traditional grapes and varieties and trying
Made the traditional way.
yeah, and they seem to be all about the events, also, you know, the fun parties that we have and things like that. So I think that's what surprised me the most, is coming in and like, gosh, our wine club is really young, and they're up for the challenge and trying new things, which is nice for us.
Yeah, I would say just offhand, the sparkling Albarino was really dry. So when we go in to do dosage trials, we always pick out 0 dosage, which is not adding any sugar back into the wine at disgorging. And when we first started, we were always told, you know, we were getting coached, like, that might not be commercially viable, but that is what the winemakers like. So I'm really impressed that a lot of our wine club members also have that very dry palate, refined palate, that we would choose. So we don't, you know, try to cater to the masses.
We make
We're
wine that
making
we
what we
like, and then our wine club
Yeah.
members also like that.
So the Albarino sold out, and it was very dry. It didn't, you know, it was surprising, but it was a small lot. It was received really well. Albarino does well in Paso, so
yeah.
yeah.
And that Albarino was at our the bottles. I noticed they don't say vintage. I assume they're all cuvées
All of
then.
them, yeah. Yeah.
Most of
They're
them.
all bottled, vintage. They're not necessarily labeled vintage, but we don't at this point we don't cross blend vintages. So I know which vintage it is, and but it's sort of, unless we're specifically making a vintage wine, it doesn't seem to matter, because we're trying to follow kind of a house style anyways. So it should taste non-vintage, like the Brut Chardonnay every year. Although it's a different vintage, we're trying to make the same style every year. So I think in that sense, it is non-vintage.
Is that
We're not in Champagne.
Yeah.
right? Which arguably means it'd be easier to do vintages, right?
Yeah. Well, and then I mean, to be honest, logistically, it also makes ordering packaging and everything so much easier, just to not
That's
have.
a great point. And retail, if you're
Another
doing into
office
retail.
request over here.
So that's the prime. There's a variety of reasons then why not to do vintage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't do the fancy bottles either, because of change parts.
Yeah.
What do you mean by the fancy bottles? Your bottles are plenty fancy.
They are the regular WP 106, which are
Oh,
just
No, they're standard. They're good. I think
Yeah.
I think what you're referring to is you know, kind of the bowling
Yeah.
pin shape bottles or things like that. Yeah, we haven't played around with those yet.
God. But you said you've done some vintage, or you just
We do have we have a couple special wines that we have bottled and labeled as vintage, and they were exceptional and they stood out, and we might end up doing more vintage wines as we go, but that's not the norm right now.
so when Paso has an exceptional vintage like the 23s, um, you don't feel like you're missing out at all?
well, our 23s are all still aging in bottle right now.
Yeah, so we might.
So it's a different
so
way
you
of
might.
looking at things. It's,
So
you
you
know,
still have
not
time to decide.
traditional 24 bottling for 23. We leave our sparkling aging in the bottle for, you know, 1 to 2 years. So
Yeah.
it really, in the beginning, we needed to get product out, but now we have the luxury of waiting and testing the wines and trying them throughout their aging process to find out when they're at their peak. And that's just our opinion. So, we love to pull bottles out from a lot and say, hey, let's do a dosage trial. And we'll bring some of our wine club members. Sometimes our staff comes in. We test different levels of dosage. And we decide how it's doing and if we want to age it longer, or if we want to have a fresh sparkling.
So the benefit of making so many different wines is, we can just be out of one. Like, for example, right now we're out of the El Barino, and it's not a rush of like, let's get the next vintage out because we're out and we taste it and it's not quite ready. We'll just say, we're out of that one. Let's move on to a different one. So we don't try to rush the process.
Yeah. Got it. I think I read, Sherrie, that the sparkling Grenache rosé is your favorite child right now.
I kind of switched. I would say rosé sparkling in general is my favorite. It's my favorite to drink. It's my favorite to make. I'm staring at right now, my favorite is our Cinsault rosé. And it's similar to the Grenache rosé. I mean, they're both Rhone grapes, but the Grenache rosé, what I love about it, it has this really cool like cherry, watermelon, crushed berry. It's just really fruity. Where right now I like the Cinsault rosé because it's kind of got this white pepper and a spice, and it's a kind of a little layer of complexity that's a little different from the Grenache. So this week, my favorite one is the Cinsault rosé.
And Lauren, what about you? This is the worst question ever, your favorite child, but of the
Well, I
lineup,
mean, it changes over time, and it
Sure.
depends on what our newest varietal is. I would say, like, I'm really interested in Gruner Veltliner just because when I first started drinking wine, that was one of we're the largest Gruner Veltliner growers in California, which is very weird. And that was all because somebody at the time gave us a contract for it. So it was all circumstance. And there was a really great winery up in Livermore that made a Gruner Veltliner, and they also made a sparkling with us one of the first years we were open, and it was amazing. And we also made our own sparkling.
Have you
So-
done a still version of that?
No, we have not.
Yeah,
we don't. We
could.
don't. But do we have Gruner anymore? We have a small amount of Gruner.
We
left.
have Gruner, yeah.
No, we have not made a still Gruner Veltliner. No. So I think that's interesting to me. But obviously the Senso is amazing. I love the classic brut Chardonnay, 100% Chardonnay. And then our original Blanc de Blanc with the brandy dosage. I'm glad that we brought back the brandy dosage for the first time with the Pinot Meunier. It has a really good, it has layers to it. So it's really nice.
And it was fun collaboration with a local distillery here. They were happy to make it for us. We're happy to support them. And
so I just answered your question by giving you 5 answers.
It's an impossible question, though. I know that.
So
I like
Jason,
them all.
it looked like someone had a question about the sparkling wine process in general.
Right. Yeah, I thought if you look at the chat, those are questions we can have a Q&A.
Yeah,
This one
let them
fits
build
in.
up, and then in a couple minutes we'll turn it over and just get into Q&A.
This one fits in. This one fits into the convo now.
Oh, go ahead and bust it out, Mike.
No, I mean somebody, one of our members here is would like you to explain the sparkling process. I assume it's
Yeah,
Method
so
champenoise.
that's the fun part about it, and I think that's what differentiates Rava from a lot of other sparkling is. So here we make our sparkling the traditional method or the champagne method, which involves a lot of labor and time and love. We make a base wine, let's say for Chardonnay, it'd be very similar to the still regular Chardonnay we would make, but I bring in the grapes a little earlier. I want it to be lower sugar and I want it to be higher acid for the sparkling. So it's made into a Chardonnay wine, and then the wine is put into the bottle, and it's actually, the bottle that you buy, we put the base wine in there and add a sugar and yeast and put a crown cap or a beer cap on it. And the yeast metabolizes the sugar, ferments out, and that byproduct is the carbonation and also a little more alcohol. But we capture that carbonation in there. And so that's where the bubbles come from. The difference being like a Prosecco is a little easier and a little faster. Instead of fermenting and getting your bubbles into the bottle, you would just do it into one big tank. And then the carbonated wine in the tank would go into the bottle. The style difference is Prosecco doesn't get that really cool yeasty characteristic that we like in champagne or Méthode champenoise, like that brioche, the biscuity, the really cool velvety texture. So that's a style difference that comes with a difference in the sparkling. And then also the bubbles. The Prosecco has these big bubbles that, you know, kind of dissipate really fast, like a soda, where if we're doing it the traditional method for doing the secondary fermentation in the bottle, we get these tiny, fine little bubbles that last the entire glass. And it's also a difference of you can make a Prosecco in 3 months and it takes us 3 years. So it is a labor of love doing it the traditional way that we make sparkling wine versus Prosecco or like a forced carbonated sparkling wine.
I get some applause for that. And thanks for walking through that, Sherry. I'm gonna make a comment and ask a question and comment, and then I'm gonna turn over to Mike because I got to jump to a board meeting. Lauren, did you ever have the opportunity to meet Chad's grandfather that moved here from Italy?
No, I did not. Chad's dad now is 87.
Yeah, got it.
So
I'm
he passed away, I
curious if
believe, at 91 from Greenfield. So they're in the
yeah,
Salinas Valley and they're vegetable farmers. So Chad was the first one in his family to go into wine grape growing, but I've seen pictures and yeah.
I would like to ask Chad one day if he knows, like, who
Yeah,
in the right mind leaves Lake Como to come here?
well, we'll have to ask them, but you know, there's something I've been looking into. It's that Familia citizenship over in Lake Como. And there's
Yeah,
a family home there. So
Yeah,
we
need an Italian tasting room.
they did, I know they did make wine there at one point, just as every Italian did, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, then I just wanted to add, I've been to the property. It's spectacular. For those who haven't been, you definitely got to check it out. There's something for everybody. Aside from the fact that it really is just for people that think all the beauty's on the west side, they clearly haven't been to your property. It's gorgeous. And then there's food is excellent, and then there's such a great diverse lineup of wines. There's really truly something for everybody. So I highly recommend everybody check it out. Um, I appreciate your time. I hope I'll see you guys out at your facility sometime soon. And
at your board meeting. Can we ask what it's for? Can
what's that? The what's that?
we ask what your board meeting is for?
Yes, and we'll talk about it when I come see you at your property soon.
Awesome.
It was nice to
Thank
meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice speaking with you.
Thanks, Jason. Okay, so let's we'll move along. We're getting a little bit long, but we started late, so let's just we'll kind of stick with some of so think about locally, who are some of your favorite winemakers in the area there? And we'll ask each of you to answer.
Sherrie and I were talking about this because this is a
Yeah.
very loaded question. Well, I would say John is my favorite winemaker. That he's passed since he passed in 2023.
John Clark?
John Clark, yeah. So he was our founding winemaker, the one that helped us get started. You know, a second father to us. And obviously, we really appreciate everything Sherrie does for us here. And we have a really unique situation here where we also make wine for 30 plus other local winemakers or make sparkling wine from their wine. So I don't know, people bring so many different things to the community. There's winemakers that are just really bringing the area up with their marketing skills. There's winemakers that you can call and say, hey, I need extra glass, or I have a question, do you have time to spare? And then there's winemakers that are just really making killer reds. So it's just a loaded question. I can't answer it. I'm sorry.
Right.
But I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. I think I skipped over it. When I worked for SVP in 2008, my first job in the wine industry, Jason was the winemaker there, Jason Bouchon.
Right.
So I always have a soft spot in my heart for that.
No,
And I love
Good
his wines. He does an excellent job. Very
great guy, makes great wines. Yeah. Like
yeah,
him.
such a nice guy. So
Yeah.
And Sherrie, did you have any mentors that you can speak of in the?
I did, and one of them was one of them was John Clark, and what he has taught me is more of a trusting the science and the you know, the process. There's a lot of uncertainty with sparkling wine. You know, when I add the yeast culture to the wine, you don't know if it's gonna work. You hope it does, and you have a lot of faith that it does work. But he was just always, you know, trust the process, trust the science. You know, it's just wine.
yeah.
And so yeah, he just had this calmness, and so he's not here now, but in the cellar I'm often like, oh gosh, what am I doing? And I'm like, okay, just
What would John do?
you know, trust the process, it's gonna work, it's
Yeah.
trust the science. And
I don't know if we talked about this, but you worked with John about 2 years prior to him
Yeah.
passing. So he knew he was going to have to pass the baton at some point. He was already retired when we hired him. And he was always consulting. He was never a full-time winemaker. So he handpicked Sherrie and brought her on and taught her, you know, the way
Yeah.
we do things here. And she had already had the sparkling experience. So that was really special to us that she was able to get that hands-on experience with John.
yeah, I started at J Sparkling Wines up in Healdsburg, and I knew I wanted to make
I
sparkling.
know we forgot that.
Oh, no,
Yeah, so
wife and I have been there before. Yeah.
it was wonderful. It was Judy Jordan, and it was a fantastic company, and it was a great start. And I just really knew I wanted to make sparkling wine. And I made my way down to Paso, and I became extremely jealous that John was telling me how he had this new project with the Ravas, and they were building the sparkling house. And so when John was ready to retire from his retirement job, he was kind of bring me on, and he knew that he knew my passion for sparkling wine. So yeah, John was my mentor. He actually got me where I am right now, so I do appreciate that.
So, just more personal stuff. What do you guys like to do in your time off? What do you do? Family trips? Anywhere you like to go?
Well, I would say since, you know, I touched on the illness thing, like we really started traveling a little bit more, spending more time with family. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. It's actually my husband and I's 15-year wedding anniversary today.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
And my parents, who are really cute, they asked me like a month ago to take my kids camping in San Simeon. So my kids are gone. And I'm like, wait a minute, did you plan that? And they planned it. So they think I need to go have more fun.
Yeah.
Chad and I are going to dinner tonight at Le Petit Canaille. We don't get out very often, but we ride horses, we raise cattle. The kids are entered in the fair next week. So my daughter's doing horse events on her horse, and my son's entering the junior team roping with my husband for the first time. So they are entered together. We hang out a lot at home. We love our home. It's very nice.
Sounds like fun.
And we have a lot of friends come to us, which is a great aspect of the industry. And
Yeah.
people come vacation here, and we're able to host them. And I love it when people call me. Sometimes I'll be like, no, I'm staying home today, but say, hey, I'm at the taste room. Cool, I'm coming down.
Yeah.
How about you, Sherrie?
I have a 16-year-old son, Alex, that keeps us pretty busy. He's extremely active, plays soccer year-round, travel soccer, things like that. So I just really love following him and his sports and events. And then other than that, spend a lot of time in my yard. I love to garden, flower garden, and be outside. And I'm a long distance runner, run marathons, things like that. I like to be outside. Yeah. Stay
You
busy.
must know Ann Kaufman.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Now, let me see. Is there a story behind the name? I don't think we need to do that one.
Well, you know, it's a really hard question. But, you know,
Well,
we
let me-
did go through
let me
the
scratch that one.
exploratory thing where you're working with a label company, and we're like, we're starting a wine label. What should we call it? And we didn't want to call it our own name. It's such a personal thing. It's so much pressure. And we ultimately ended up, they're like, the name's good. So the logo came from a family document from his grandfather's from Lake Como. So it was his
Very
military
nice.
paperwork. It was like a calligraphy. So that's where the logo came from, and it's here now.
Mhm.
It means turn up farm.
It does.
Very glamorous.
What do you think's unique or special about the winery? I know you have an events facility. They maybe you should share what exactly how that works there for you. I know you do weddings. You got a beautiful back setting there for weddings. We really were amazed. So
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it started out as an event venue. We had just come off our own wedding that was free at a family ranch, but we had to bring in all the infrastructure. So we soon realized that was very expensive. We already had this place in escrow. It was a retired Arabian horse ranch.
oh,
So it had all the existing buildings. The event center in the winery was a horse arena. So it had a roof and it had pillars. The tasting room was a vet lab, but it was all built in the 60s. So it was very disheveled. And, in the 80s, they took away the tax benefit for owning horse ranches. So a lot of these places became dilapidated. So we just saw it and we're like, this would be an awesome wedding venue, which I should share the pictures with you at some point because it did not look like a wedding venue.
Yeah, the vision.
And it took a lot of work. So we planted the grapes the first year in 2011, did all the permits, like I said, and did all the construction. It took a long time. We took six years to finish the project. So a very long time. Thank God we were hidden here in this little valley and no one could see us because we're not on display in town, like other projects have to be. So we finally opened, and then the tasting room came along, and then the winery was the last aspect because the first year we had made our wines at Rack and Riddle, the sparkling wine at Rack and Riddle.
there. I mean, my recollection of being there is that I didn't have a sense that anything was built in the 60s. You guys have done an amazing job of
Thank you.
transforming an older structures into
Yeah.
really something modern looking.
Yeah, it was very scary, and I'm glad it turned out well.
Yeah.
Mike, to answer your question about, I think what kind of makes it unique is we offer in our tasting room, we have the sparkling flight, of course, but we also do still wines. So we have a, Albarino, we have a Chardonnay, a Pinot Blanc, and we do some reds, a big Cabernet, Italian red blend. So I think it is unique to be able to come to one place and either have sparkling or still wine, and then maybe a couple, the wife would maybe want the sparkling, the husband can get the still. So I think it's unique that you have a opportunity to taste either in one spot. Yeah.
I have to tell you, my wife and I did enjoy some of the reds. I'm mostly a red guy. She loves sparkling.
Yeah.
And,
Bubbles.
and I enjoyed some of the reds. I was very impressed, and unfortunately, kind of get boxed into going like, well, where do you go to get? You see it in the group all the time. Where do you go to get
Yeah.
sparkling? And they go Rava, but when the conversation comes up about red, you don't get mentioned, and it's just I mean, that's what you're specialized in, of course. But
Yeah.
your reds and your whites are not to be dismissed. So I'm saying that it's worth going there to try the flight, the sparkling flight, and the other, and we enjoyed both. Thank you, Lauren Rava. Thank
And
you
we're
for
okay with
sharing.
that. We're just happy to have people
Thank you
that
for
enjoy
sharing
our
that with
wines.
us because we probably would have just had the sparkling and left, but we were enjoyed some of the red we had too.
Yeah.
Well, we don't sell as much still wine, but we're creating our own competition. So being known for our sparkling doesn't help us sell still wine, but we're our own competition in that sense. So
Yeah. And honestly, the event industry was our main focus on direct to consumer to start with. We had a built-in venue that was up to 1,000 people. It's one of the largest in a rural community in San Luis Obispo County. You wouldn't be able to get it today. So that was always our focus, was directly just selling to events. Afterwards with our wine club and the sparkling and how that took off was never our business plan. We're very grateful for it, and it's amazing. So
Great. Yeah, I mean, you have a wedding, you were selling them
yeah,
sparkling wine, right? So
300-person wedding. It's a great
Yeah.
built-in audience and a great way to get people to visit your property and come back for other things.
right. Well, before we get on to the questions from the people that have joined in, maybe you can share a little something about your wine club, what your current wine lineup is, and kind of tell us about your club and how that works. And
Yeah, the club started in 2008 and it's grown to a really great number. I think from the beginning, Chad's an entertainer, my husband. He loves throwing a good party. And so he always just wanted to offer a really good value to people and give them a reason, kind of the old school Paso Wine Club. And so we try to throw 2 events a year. We just have the spring and the fall. The spring tends to be more daytime oriented with a little bit more food, casual outdoors. And the fall is typically an evening event with food, but more focused on the entertainment. So hopefully there's something for everybody. This year we have, or this fall, we have King of Queens. It's a Queen tribute band, and it's free for our members. So that was really important to us. And I know after 2020, it got tricky, like things cost more money. And luckily we have the space and the infrastructure to be able to provide that free still to our guests. Cause I know like to put on an event, it's very expensive, but
Well, it's
we bought a sound system.
yeah.
Might have been the midlife crisis. Buying a sound system, doing the music. It's another hobby of ours. So
I hear you.
have a
I
place
love it
now.
too.
It's available and it allows us to put on really good shows inside that event center.
The Ravas put on a good party. It's a good time.
Yeah.
And we have a large wine club, so it's split up in between 2 nights. So it's kind of the same party 2 nights in a row, which I love.
Yeah, it allows us to have more focus on people and not just have 800 people there at one time. So we split it up 400 each night. And that's just our pickup members that apply.
Right.
But as far as the wine club, there's a sparkling, then we also have like a still wine club, and I think there's one where it's both. I don't really know, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of
options.
So there's a little brut and brut sparkling and Bohemian Rhapsody is what's going on.
Yes. Which isn't a new concept, but it works for us.
I like live band
Yeah.
myself.
More music.
No, it's
we
a good
love-
time.
And then we have our outdoor stage as well, where we host pretty much all through the summer, May through October, free patio music on Sundays, 2 to 5.
Oh, very good.
So we
very
like to keep that regular so people can kind of make plans and enjoy the property.
You should add those things to the group as an event on
I
the event
just
page.
saw that we're allowed to do that. I hate to do the shameless plugs, but I will take advantage of that. Thank you.
Now, I said on Tuesdays we do plugs, but if you create an event, it
Yes,
sits there for everybody to see every
I
day.
just saw that when I was getting ready.
So,
For the event.
yeah, if you need, just reach out to me. I can help you. But
Just have to talk to the
so-
department. She's
now we're getting a little long in time. Let me ask the last question, and then we'll go through some of these questions. Let our guests ask some of them. We always ask our winemaker and our owners what their pro tip is, what you can share. Basically, how to enjoy their wine consumption better.
Hmm.
You have anything that you can share with us?
I would like to challenge everybody to drink more bubbles, but try bubbles without it having to be a special occasion. Try bubbles with a steak or with a barbecue. It's really surprising, and I think sparkling wine is one of the most versatile wines that go with anything. And it's kind of like, if you don't know what to pair it with, it's usually rosé or sparkling. So, my pro tip is try to incorporate more bubbles in your life. I think back in the day, sparkling wine used to be so expensive and it seemed like a luxury. And now our sparkling is cheaper than most Paso Reds. So, I want people to have a bottle on a Wednesday night and pop it open. And, yeah, that's kind of my pro tip is I'm on this mission to have people pop open more bubbles and enjoy more bubbles.
That was a
Go ahead, Lauren.
really reflective question. I would say being like a family owned business and seeing like what your group provides for the community is just really knowing where your wine is coming from and then asking the questions when you go to the wineries. Where do you grow your grapes? Where do you source them from? And I see that like all the members are very
They seem
smart
family.
and very
producers.
they ask the right questions, but it's great to keep the local wineries buying local grapes, supporting the local community to keep Paso healthy. And because, you know, our family supports the local restaurants and in turn supports the local sports teams. Sometimes it's cheaper to buy grapes from a large corporation or an investment company, but that's been our biggest challenge over the last 10 years is competing with the larger corporations.
Right.
So for me, I think I see your group is very cognizant of that and they ask the right questions, but I think knowing where your stuff comes from, that you enjoy your experience more because you know that you're investing in our community because you love Paso.
Well, that's what the group's all about. And I
Yeah.
do see that when I do read a lot of the comments and posts that,
Yeah.
and I've had other winemakers and owners tell me the same thing, that the people in our group are very focused in on the process
Yeah.
and they do care about the little things that your average just, you know, people that come into town, oh, let's go wine tasting and sit in the vineyard and they don't really care too much about what they're drinking. They just want the experience of enjoying the outdoors and some wine and which you can do next to your pool, you know, but
Yeah.
And that's how
um,
we introduce people to wine.
but
So
they
I'm
but
like,
they ask
all
the
those
right
texts
questions.
to
They
be
want
like,
to
hey,
know
welcome,
more.
come in, have some wine and learn more about what it's all about. And then they start to peel back the layers and eventually become a wine fanatic.
Yeah.
Right, right. And they do want to hear the story about how you go through the
Yeah,
process
yeah.
of making sparkling because it is fascinating.
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask a question now because it came to me while I was opening that bottle. I was going, this is great. You just pull the cork and you pour it in the glass. But when I open reds, I contemplate how I should go about it. Should I open it 4 hours before?
Yeah.
I open it the day before? Should I toss it a couple times? Or is it aged enough that I can just pour it in my glass, swirl it, and it's fine to drink? I don't
Yeah.
feel like, so I told my wife, I go, this is so simple that it does make it easy to access the wine. And I'm going, okay, but maybe I'm dumb and somebody's going to tell me, no, you should do a little extra with it. And
Well, maybe because it's so hard to make and process
Yeah.
that we make it
but,
really easy for you just to open
but
and not think about
right,
it.
right. So, you know, there's a lot more thought.
Yeah.
Things that go through my mind, like we're going out to dinner Saturday night. I'm going to take this bottle with me. I'm going to aerate it because the restaurant won't do it. They'll just
Yeah.
pop
Yeah.
and pour. And so I'll aerate it, push the cork back in and let them open it. But I think way ahead on that. But is there anything that we should do when we open a bottle of champagne, sorry, sparkling, either one, doesn't matter, slash. Uh, is there anything we should be doing?
Well, I think you should, while you're aerating your red in the background, be enjoying the bottle of sparkling
Maybe
wine.
live in the moment a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know, you're back.
That's a little bit of a tune-up then.
You know, there's, I think opening sparkling wine can be intimidating for some people. And there's certainly some safety that goes with it. You know, I guess my pro tip for opening it is once you get that little wire hood off the cage, you should always have your hand on that cork. I mean, that's all day things are exploding in our faces, and yeah, that's no joke. And also, when you have the cork, you're supposed to twist the bottle, not the cork. So I think a lot of people have a hard time, you know, trying to get that champagne cork out, but if you hold the cork, you should be twisting the bottle, and you don't want it to be a big pop, although that's really fun. It should be like a little, psh, you know, like don't lose the bubbles, things like
Yeah,
that.
that might be another episode.
Or you could saber it off, you know, but sabering's always fun too.
I saw a video of you, Lauren, sabering off.
I learned how to properly saber from one of our dear wine club members. And I see it done wrong all the time,
Yeah.
but you live and you learn.
When all else fails, just grab your sword.
And I might be doing it wrong for all I know. So please
Yeah.
correct me if you see something
If it's
incorrect.
working, it's fine.
And you're right. So I learned something. I did not twist the bottle. I twisted the cork.
Yeah, and
But
so
I
that's-
I eased it out so that
Yeah, no.
no
twist the
surprises.
bottom. Yep.
So, okay. So I got some questions over here. And anybody that wants to actually ask their question, raise your hand. I'll call you in a minute, Steve. Let's see. There were some questions from way back. How much like the question is how many how how much area do you have under vine? Meaning what is your
Yeah.
growing acreage?
We have about 1,200 acres, but it changes daily. We have significantly downsized since my last numbers. And that just all has to do with the grape market right now. I
Right.
think you probably all have heard that it's been terrible the last couple of years. So even though we downsized in 2017, we have continued to downsize. So right now here at the winery itself in Paso, we have 138 acres, 500 acres total. Majority of it is cattle ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question though. If you grow, you overgrow. Just the mere thought of that. Uh, I don't like wasting food, and I consider
Yeah.
wine food.
No.
What other science goes into what can happen to you? Are you using burning up nutrients in the ground when you don't overgrow and you don't use the fruit
Yeah.
with
Well, I think if you're not intentionally growing the crop for finished product, you're not farming it.
okay.
So, I mean, that is more of a farming question, and I haven't really dealt with that yet. But right now we're hopeful that it's going to be purchased in the 2025 season. But if we know a crop isn't going, if it's not a viable crop, we're going to tear it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's just something that came to mind. I was like, why?
Yeah, it's a very
You
tricky
over
question because grapes are a 25-year crop. So that's a long-term commitment. So you don't just tear it out 1 year because you don't sell them. You can, you have to continue to farm them to keep them viable.
right. Okay.
But
Of
you can
course,
minimize your
the
farming
vines, you can't just let
if
them
you're
die.
not planning on selling, if you're not planning on producing a crop that year, you can minimize your farming and
But
your impact to the
but
environment.
you can't tear out vines and switch to another varietal if
You can graft,
the
and we
consumer
have done,
change.
grafting. So that's
Right.
when you cut and you change varietals. We have done that. I can't remember.
It's not a quick.
Still a 3-year turnaround.
And so, yeah, a lot of the challenge is trying to predict the market. Are people going to like Pinot? And if people want Pinot, you can't react that quickly. It takes 3 years to catch that trend and things like that.
Right. Right. You kind of always got to be on the
You have
hand
to
on your
be able
finger
to
on
see
the
the
pulse.
future. Yeah.
Delia wants to know how much sugar is in your brut.
Typically for our Chardonnay, it's usually about 6 grams per liter, which is probably the average for most champagne brutes and Chardonnay in general. And that's it, 6 grams per liter. It doesn't taste sweet. It just tastes balanced with the acidity. So it tends to taste dry, but it doesn't taste really acidic and crisp. So 6 is about the average.
Very small amount
Yeah.
in reality.
Dimitro says sushi is a good pairing with sparkling wine.
Of course.
I had sushi today. Goshi's is our favorite.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to Steve Adam. He's going to give you a nerdy question, I'm sure.
Oh no, I'm scared.
Oh, I love nerdy questions.
Steve, you need to turn up unmute.
And
you're in
there
France,
we go.
right?
Can you hear me?
Oh, hi.
All right. Hello, I'm
I
Steve.
recognize the name from the page.
Oh, okay, cool.
You guys.
Okay. First of all, safety feature, the cage on the champagne bottle or the sparkling bottle, that is a safety feature. You never take that thing off. When you open it, service towel, and you twist both the cage and the cork, and there should be it never should even pop. That's successful open. But
Absolutely.
it keeps you from putting your eye out. You have
Yeah.
to hit the thing in 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it's loosened, and the wire thing's off, but the cage is still actually on there. That's your safety device. Keeps you
It
from
sounds like
killing
you've
people.
opened a few.
Yeah. Well,
Sounds like
it's
you,
not, I don't always get a
me.
successful open though. Sometimes it goes and it doesn't pop, but there's champagne this
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. And it could be
And then
intentional
the other time
sometimes.
is it will pop. You're trying the best you can, and you still get a pop.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
not easy to do it right every time.
I've never
Um,
really stared down the barrel of the neck to open it, but I've seen
Yeah.
people lean over and put the bottle between their legs and do it.
Oh my
no.
God.
There
Now,
are people who've lost
that's
their
a dangerous
eyes doing
practice
this.
right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So
We
so
don't
actually
carry
a
that
saber
here.
is safer in its own way because you're everything's going that way. Right?
There's so much pressure in that bottle.
Yeah,
That
6
makes me nervous.
atmospheres.
I've gone to wine events and like a sparkling wine event in particular where I think just be prepared to pour a lot of sparkling wine. They've taken all the hoods off and the wine's just chilling in the ice with the corks, like they're about to explode at any minute. And I don't think people realize just, how much pressure is in that bottle. But
Yeah.
Real quick,
It's dangerous.
when it's colder,
Mhm.
it seems to me well, it depends on your outside air temperature when you open it, right? That's what
No,
makes it
that won't
come
make
out.
enough difference. It's 6 atmospheres. So you chill it down to a nice, drinking temperature of 6 to 8 degrees centigrade, and it won't affect the pressure at all. You still got 5.89 atmospheres of pressure in there.
Yeah,
So
well,
it does
yeah.
seem like the warmer the sparkling is, the more explosive
Oh
right.
yeah, for
it
sure.
will be. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
with the
won't get
scourging
stuff
prior
spraying
to,
everywhere if you chill it correctly.
I took what you sent me yesterday. I picked it up on Wednesday. I put up the bottles in the fridge, in our main fridge, not a wine fridge, and it opened up beautifully.
Yeah.
right.
Gas escape, da 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 da. But
Yeah,
I'm curious
you
about
are supposed to serve it
it was
very
not
cold. Yeah.
warm, but like you're
Right.
saying at a party at a wine event, wedding,
Yeah.
Mhm.
the bottles sit there and they take the cage off. Do they pop?
Yeah. I see that often, or at a restaurant, maybe the server doesn't know better and they'll take the hood off and start talking to you, and it's like, oh gosh,
It's a loaded gun,
you're
man.
like, yeah, you need to cover that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
We keep
different
it
subject,
exciting
different
around
question.
here, just you never know.
Well, I've had somebody pop in my face. I mean, just unintentionally. So it's a real thing. Yeah.
So
Did you have
different
another?
question.
Go ahead.
Your base wine, you're making sparklings from a lot of different varietals, which means you got a lot of different base wines. And Paso's not a cool region. It's quite hot. Further north is getting warmer and warmer. Um, how are you handling your base wine? Are you have everybody has to pick earlier, or is it just you get a base wine and you end up with an extra dry or a sec? How is that working?
Well, so sparkling is there's a lot of tricky things about sparkling, but the base wine is particularly challenging because you want to pick it early, you want it to be lower sugar, you want the higher acidity, but also it has to have the flavors. So Albarino,
Right.
for example, I'm looking at the chemistry, and the chemistry might look perfect, but I don't want it to taste like asparagus or bell pepper. So you have to wait
Right.
for it to get to pineapple, but you're worried about the chemistry. So there's a very fine line, and I think the base wine picking in the vineyard is I don't want to say more important than a still wine, but very important. And your frame of picking is so much smaller. But I mean, yeah,
I
we're
see that
picking.
being tricky, yeah, one of the trickier aspects of doing this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it makes it streamlined because we are the grower and we are the winery. We're doing everything in-house. So we cut
Wow.
out the decision-making process. We're able to say, let's do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're ready. All hands on deck.
And everything, the grapes come in beautiful. Everything's hand picked. Sparkling has to be hand picked. They come in these bins. They're not crushed. I'm not dealing with compromised fruit. I mean, I'm kind of spoiled from a winemaking standpoint as far as the grapes coming in. But Yeah, as it gets warmer, it is a little more challenging to make the base wine, but we can still get the acid and the flavors without the sugar and the alcohol. You
So
just
if
have to,
someone sends you a base wine, you're kind of stuck with whatever they sent you, though, right?
you know, I'm stuck with whatever they send me. And you know, they're winemakers, unless they ask for my consulting help. And all of our clients know how to make wine, things like
Ah, okay.
that. There are
So they know,
parameters,
yeah,
you know, that they'll hit. I don't want to start with a high alcohol based wine because it's not going to
right.
ferment. And
Yeah,
But I
it's gotta
think
be young,
making
young.
sparkling wine intentionally, instead of saying, I had this white wine that didn't make sugar, that we're gonna make into a sparkling is a totally different thing. And we run into that sometimes as well, as we have this extra white wine that we want to make into sparkling. Most of our clients, and obviously ourselves, we were intentionally starting from the beginning,
Yeah,
making a sparkling wine base. So we're not just trying to like create something different out of what we already
so
have.
a challenge with sparkling wine, I think making sparkling wine is so much harder than making regular wine. And I do them both, so I feel like I can say that. But with a bubble, everything is amplified. If there's any type of flaw in the wine, if there's any oxidation, that's amplified with a bubble. So I think maybe people used to think, well, this isn't a very good wine. Well, let's make it into sparkling wine. And it's like, oh no, it has to be like so perfect and pristine to start with. So yeah, the base wine is everything. Yeah, you know, we
okay, then one
no
more, do you do,
room for error.
one more silly question is, do you do extended lease aging on any of your, stuff?
We do. You're talking about the
Like,
bottles aging.
leave it on 3 years before you
Yeah, we do
disgorge?
have
Yeah,
our Chardonnay tends to lay down long. The Albreño, because there's so much acid, it takes a lot of aging to tame the acidity.
We just tried that one.
So the longer that the wine is laying on its lees, the softer it'll get. And we
you
do
get brioche, hopefully, yeah.
the rosé tends to be like a quicker to market because I want it to be fresh. I don't want it really yeasty, where the Chardonnay I want it to be yeasty. So it's a style decision.
For sure. All right.
Thanks, Steve.
That's enough questions for me. I'll let other people
Good
ask questions.
question.
I just have one, let me give you one question. Oop, that's off to the side here. Friend of mine or ours or couple, what is the idea behind adding cognac to sparkling wine? Is that a thing?
It is. Yeah, we add a brandy to a couple of ours, and so it originated in Champagne. But the purpose is in Champagne, the grapes don't always get as ripe as they want. We don't have that problem in California. Our grapes will always be ripe. So adding it in Champagne originally was to increase the alcohol because the base wine didn't get enough sugar or alcohol. We add it as a style, as a, you know, adding another interesting layer to the wine. It does increase the alcohol a little bit. It gives it some complexity. It gives it, you know, some more depth, more viscosity. So it's for style. In California, where in Champagne, it's to make up for lack of sugar.
Okay. Delia?
Yes, I have a follow-up question to the question about the sugar levels on your brut. What other denominations of sweetness or dryness do you produce, like sec, demi-sec, extra brut, etc.? We ask because we are not a huge fan of very like extra dry
Oh, that's good stuff.
sparklings.
We
Yeah.
like them a little bit more towards the
Well,
semi-sweeter side.
Yeah,
even in the middle,
And not, you know, not what's the
not a dolce or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's something in the middle.
So currently we don't intentionally make something on the sweeter side. We always could, and we've always talked about it.
Yeah, we would love to do a small lot. Just because that's not our preference doesn't mean that other people don't want that. So maybe we can talk later and you guys can give us some ideas on what varieties you think would be good fit for that.
Yeah, I think we might like for example, we do a very dry muscat, and I think it surprises people when they taste it and they say, "Oh, I thought this would be sweet." And so we've talked about, oh, maybe we should make like a small lot that is a little sweeter, and And I do like some sweet sparkling wines too, especially with like sushi and things like that. We currently don't make one, but we can add another SKU.
We have discussed it several times.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you are brut or dryer at this point?
Yeah, so basically like 1 to 18 is brut level. So we're under 18 right now currently with all our varietals.
Yeah.
18 is kind of high.
18's high, yeah.
18 is
But it all depends on the wine. I mean,
Right.
from vintage to vintage, we test them all because, every year is different. So sometimes it tastes the same if you add more or less.
And what you pair it with. If you sit and have a nice, raw oyster, you can have
Yeah.
something very dry, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But for us, we're not sitting and drinking glasses like that.
So that
Prosecco.
dosage from a winemaker is I'm just trying to balance the acidity. I kind of, I guess, related to a chef that would throw a pinch of salt in a dish. They're not trying to make it salty. They're just trying to balance the dish. So dosage is kind of a tricky thing because our Albarino probably has the most sugar, but it tastes the driest because the acidity starts so high. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a hard to explain when someone asks, "Oh, that has a lot of sugar. That must be sweet." And it's like, yeah, but it tastes dry. And so
Yeah.
there's a
So
lot.
we just have to taste them all. So we
Yeah.
Just have to
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
to the
no, we'll
tasting
definitely
time.
keep that in mind. And like our goal is just to kind of play with all the varietals and all the styles and make it so there's something for everybody.
So do you have different tastings for sparklings, for your stills, a combination? How do your tasting?
Yeah, currently we just have a still sparkling and a still tasting and a sparkling tasting. So 2 separate.
Mhm. And we do find a lot of people that come in will share, and so they'll order one
I
of
was
each.
just gonna say, we should come in and share.
it, and
so we can try everything.
Yeah.
you can try everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing I just mentioned in the chat is like what I learned living in Canada for many years. If you add to brut a little bit of ice wine, just a little bit,
Ooh, yeah.
it
Oh,
will make it very more flavorful and just slightly sweeter.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds delicious.
So now he's piquing our interest in ice wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have
Never know where
Canadian
the
ice
future will take
wines.
That does sound delicious. And I do love sparkling wine cocktails. And that actually sounds like it would be like a good little cocktail.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Mike, to answer your question about what is your favorite non-wine beverage, mine is sparkling wine cocktails, which is also wine-based. And Cali Cuvée, our sparkling wine spritzer.
Okay. I knew you weren't going to say beer.
Not beer.
I think Lauren and I it works so well because we have very similar palates, I think. But I like a sparkling based beverage, but my favorite is a gin and tonics. But more specifically, I want Hendrix with Mediterranean fever tree with double lime. But I want it to be like bubbly, and I want it to be light, and I want it to be refreshing. So it's very similar palate, I guess. But.
Where's Dave? Anybody else have a question? Unmute yourself if you have something. I know that Linda here, what she had a question about. I didn't quite get your question, Linda. Can you unmute yourself and ask? We ever make a cream something? I don't know what that means. Creme. We can't hear you, Linda, if you're
Okay.
if you're
I
there you
am
go.
so sorry. They actually answered the question. It was the
Oh, okay.
cremants. So it was the demi-sweet. They did a beautiful job of saying what they're doing. So that answered the question.
So you're interested in some sweeter styles as well?
Well, yes, actually, my favorite beverage is a little bit of, okay, I'm going to say it, Sprite, because there's goes your spritzer, and a
Yeah.
little limoncello. I love a little limoncello.
Yeah.
Limoncello.
No, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, so that's my little favorite go-to right now. Maybe a little bit of mint on the top of it. But I love the summer anytime.
Yeah.
I'm a champagne girl any time of the day. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's more of the effervescence for me,
Yeah.
the texture and
I gravitate to citrusy, refreshing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to trying your spritzers That's for
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah, definitely. We, just real quick, we just came out with an Albarino-based spritzer,
Yay.
local natural pineapple flavor. It's made locally.
Oh.
And then we have a Grenache rosé base that has a botanical berry essence. So it's a very small amount of flavor,
Mhm.
and that's a pomegranate strawberry. And then our original one is a Chardonnay base. It's the same base as we make all our sparkling wines with, and that one has a little bit of a tangerine essence.
Nice. Well, I'm a club member. So
Yay!
yeah, I know. I love it. First time I came in, I said, I got to have it. So, will I be able to get your spritzers because I'm a club member?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We just released
Awesome.
the new flavors last week, so
Awesome.
they should be readily available.
Good. I'll look forward to it. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
One
Anybody
very
else?
sacrilegious thing about summer wines is what in like Spanish they do. It's a tinto de verano, which is blend of red wine and Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I had a lot of those when I was there.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah.
surprisingly refreshing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was not expecting to like it, and I kind of liked it when it's very hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually liked it better than the sangria, and I was not expecting to like it. Yeah, it worked out.
Well, and the best sangria is based on cava,
Yeah.
sparkling.
Yeah. I love kava also. And kava's made the same method that we the method traditional method as well, but yeah,
Just very different grapes.
just different grapes.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? I'll offer something. Make sure you put your events up in the
Thank
group.
you. I appreciate
And that'll help. And you can use Tuesdays to do a pop-up real quick if you want to highlight those events. And over the last few years, a lot of wineries have taken advantage of that, and they can kind of a pain because you have to keep creating an event for every day of the month leading up to the event, and it's kind of a pain. But I didn't build that platform, so there's a lot of things that are bad about it. One of the things right now is the complaint is, why doesn't my post publish? Well, for some reason, the Facebook algo or the AI is taking a picture of a bottle and shoving it into the potential spam.
No.
So on a holiday, when we're all with our family and friends, and the folder gets, 18 deep, and
Oh, geez.
hey, well, Mike, how come I post that? Well, anyways, I
We
try
all
to
have
explain it.
problems.
Right. Modern problems. They're not overwhelming, and
They're not your fault.
and,
You're
and
doing a great job. Thank you for making this platform. I have to admit, I enjoy reading all the comments.
Yeah.
And we've learned a lot as a team. Like often we'll come in on a Monday morning and we'll be like, did you see that post? And like,
Yeah.
we could do this better, or, this is how people feel about this. So it's a great little snapshot for us to see what the consumer wants. And
I have
good
to
or bad.
I
It's-
have to admit, Lauren, that when we came up there, and what the group was probably not even a year old, and the first thing you said to me when we were sitting at the table, she goes, I have your page open on my phone on my desk all day. And I'm going, oh, that's
Was that cute?
interesting. That means that people are really watching what's going on out there.
Yeah.
So,
Even if they're not active, they're seeing it.
right. Yeah, you don't have to interact. You just
Oh,
looking to see.
We drop Paso Robles wine fanatics every time we go into a tasting room, and
Yeah.
everybody knows it. Everyone.
No,
Yeah.
it's so nice.
They all know you, Mike. They all know you.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's nice too, because then the industry can get on there and say like, hey, be patient with us this weekend because it's a busy weekend, or, like coming from our perspective and letting the members know like what we go through. We're all trying to make everybody happy all the time, but it doesn't
Yeah.
always happen all the time.
Yeah, and the funny, we don't, the team, we don't really interact that much anymore. We put posts up when we have something we like, we want to share with everybody, and but that is not our main mission. But because there's actually it's 25,000 people. There's 8,000 people that are active 24/7, and they're the ones that put a lot of the content up. There's nothing that Dimitro or I or any of the other team members are going to put up there. It's going to be all that compelling. we're happy to look at the group members that are posting
Yeah.
things, and they have just share with me, what you like. I don't want to hear what you don't like. Nobody cares about that. But it just it works.
Yeah.
That's
No,
all.
I've learned a lot, and I've been introduced to a lot of new wines in our community that I didn't know about. Just because we're here doesn't mean we get out and explore all the time. So I've learned a lot from the group as well.
Yeah. Well, there's so many great people to meet, like yourself, like you two of you, and that's part of the experience for me that I like, and meeting the owners and the winemakers, and everybody's so great. But I will wrap it up here, and I'll say this: you, Sherry, and Lauren have great synergy. So I see how you enjoy what you're doing. It came across, very strongly to me, and really appreciate your taking time to join us tonight. And we encourage everybody to go visit Rava. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Thank you.
Come and visit everybody. Let them know you're part of the group.
Yeah, feel
We
free
love
to
it.
reach out on Instagram. I run the Instagram. So if you are coming to visit and you want to see if we're around, just feel free to DM us and we'll see.
That's
if we can
great.
happen.
That's great to say, let everybody know that. That's
We're
awesome.
not always on this side of things, but we're usually a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I
All
really
right. Have a good
appreciate your
night. Thank you for
participation,
having us.
and thank you very much for your time.
All right.
Awesome.
Good night.
Appreciate
Good
it.
night. Thank you.
Night.
Right. We stopped the recording.
Now we have to start figuring out how to get out.
The sun's right on your face.